Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be discussing something that was brought up on the Q&A that was at least slightly controversial. I say slightly, even though a lot of people were very mad about it, because it's only really affecting a niche group of people, and then, whoever they reach, through social media, followers, Twitch followers, whatever, their YouTube channels. Um, Maybe they can sway people's opinion as well in that way, but it really does only affect a small group of people. And the topic of this is going to be Blizzard. Ian kind of hinted that going forward, they will probably eventually phase everything into a personal loot system and take the option of like master looter off the table. Now, so let's personal loot was introduced. It was very specific only for certain things. They were trying to be very careful with it. They've changed it and tweaked it and made it a little better as it's gone on. It's ended up being it's a pretty good system. Master looter is your raid leader, whoever's in charge of it, is in charge of the loot and distributes it out accordingly. Now, of course, you don't have to worry about that for like a Mythic Plus dungeon or anything like that. It's only for raiding that this will affect because that's the only thing where there's still like a master looter. So, what happens is the very top guilds, the way they get to the top is there's certain fights that certain classes are just better at because certain classes are going to be superior in AOE, certain classes are going to be superior in single target, certain classes are going to be superior in mobility. So what they do is they basically play WoW, like all day, every day. If they do have real jobs, they take off work during the beginning of an expansion, during new raid tiers and things like that. Even take vacation time to do that. What they do is they level all alts up so that way they can do alt runs for the content. So what they're going to do is they're going to gear up. Let's say they say all the plate gear goes to this Death Knight, all the leather gear goes to this Druid, all the cloth gear goes to this Warlock, and they're going to gear up one player to make him super super powerful. And then what they're going to do is then they're going to go through and they're going to do it again to a different player. And what ends up happening by the end of the raid tier, most of the raid, at least one character that each person has, is going to be like super, super, super powerful. But of course, it's more complex than that. It's just that it's not that democratic. It's the most important things that they need are going to be super, super geared. That way, when they go into the next raid tier, they're already over geared for it, and they can, have a better chance to get the first kill or just clear it faster than other people. Be a top, let's say they're a top 50 guild, maybe they can move up to a top 40 guild, things like that. So it's highly competitive up at the top like that, and that's why they like Master Leader so much. However, so that's their perspective of it, and it's a fair perspective to have because that's the way it's always been. People don't like change in general. I know that people all around me, they don't like change in general either. Doesn't matter any kind of political affiliations or where you're from. People just generally don't like change. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. People don't like change. There's only a small people who like change, almost in all cases. I happen to be one of those people. I like dynamic changes. I like, of course, the changes need to be positive. Obviously, if a change is bad, I say it's a bad change. Changes need to be dynamic. They need to be smart. They need to be thought about, but they need to be made because change is dynamic and change make things better. So I like the moving to personal loot because Blizzard has come out and said that they don't like that these mythic guilds do these split runs and funnel the gear in the way that they do and spend many, many, many hours playing each week. And in fact, the amount of time played is completely unhealthy for these people. It's their life choice. I would never tell somebody, don't play a game for 20 hours. If your life is fine, you're all happy, put together, you do whatever you want. I would never tell you not to do that. But I do understand Blizzard not wanting their players, especially at the high end, to feel like they need to do that. What they're trying to say here is maybe even the way the personal loot system is now isn't perfect. They want to change the system to where you don't have to do that anymore. And they have two reasons. One reason is that being a nice person reason that I was kind of hinting at. They don't want people to have to sink that much time into their game to be the best at it. You don't while you have to practice every game to be the best at it. I The only game that I've ever been like one of the best at was Madden football. I used to be really into more into sports than I am now, and I used to be one of the top 50 Madden football players online in head to head. And while I played a decent amount, but I probably really only played a couple hours a day, a few hours a day, whatever, on average. Maybe one day I'd play a lot, and then 2 days I wouldn't play at all. But you can be the best at a game, on that game, for example. Another game is like Overwatch. You can probably play Overwatch for 4 hours a day if you're already good at first person shooters to begin with, 4 hours a day, and you can probably still be one of the top Overwatch players. That's a Blizzard game. Hearthstone, the same thing. You don't have to play that constantly to be really good at Hearthstone. In fact, you mostly just have to buy packs. But they don't want the game to be a game that you have to play all the time to be the best at it. They don't want it to be time craft, basically. So that's one thing. They are trying to be a nice guy. The other thing is they want to make their lives better and the rest of the community's lives better. So this probably doesn't affect you if you aren't even a raider. If it doesn't affect you at all if you're not a raider, and it doesn't affect you much if you're just a casual raider. So what they want to do is, as I explained, as all these people have funnel gear, the next raid tier becomes so much easier for them. Uh, what happens is they have to scale the raid on the mythic difficulty at least to compensate for how strong these people are geared because they don't want them to just kill everything in 5 minutes. That has to be a challenge to them. So basically, anybody who's not doing these split alt runs and gear and funneling gear, you're at a huge disadvantage compared to the main guild. An absolutely huge disadvantage. They want someone who plays 4 hours a day to have the same chance at being good as someone who plays 20 hours a day. Now you might say that's not fair. That's not fair. They're putting the time into it. That's the choice that they make. I think it is fair. I think it's fair for any game to do it. I think it's the right thing to do because in a true competitive scenario, um, you can't time gate things. You can't say, well, if you're willing to do this for 24 hours, you're just going to be the best at it. That's not really how anything in life works either. There has to be other factors into it as well. Um, I just can't think of many scenarios in life with success that just pure time is what's going to have you succeed and be the best at it. Obviously, like I said, you have to practice things, you have to do it, but just pure time spent doing something should not make you the best at it. It should be more, as the word I was used earlier. It should be more dynamic than that. That's just my opinion. People might disagree. Some people probably do believe that if you just sink a ton of time into something, that you should be highly rewarded for it. But I just can't think of many examples in real life, where that's the case, and I don't think it should be that way in games either. I know, it just really shouldn't. That's the only thing I can say, especially a game like this where you're acquiring gear and things like that. It makes more sense in a game like Overwatch where you don't need gear or anything you're just playing a set character. That makes more sense to me to get better with time because it's just more practice. But to be completely honest, Mythic Raiders and those high end guilds aren't any better at dodging things than I am. They're not better at the rotation than I am. They just play more than I do. And that's a huge difference, and that's what they want to change. So I agree with it. It's not the very applauded opinion right now, but that's the way I feel. Let me know how you feel about it, and everybody have a good one. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Thumbs up and sub as always. Also comment below, share the videos. Appreciate it so much. You can also check me out at Twitter at WoW Gaming Inc. and at Twitch with the tag name Kneecap Killa. So everyone have a good one and see you again soon.